Thank you, John. Obviously, this experience is very humbling. I, unlike the other nominees, didn't get a letter. I was actually on the committee. And very much to my surprise, at my retirement party, I was handed the press release that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So for those of you that were here or at that event at Pappy's, you will know I was extremely surprised and taken back by that honor. As John mentioned, I've been here since the inception of the Hall of Fame, and it's one of those things as I look back, there's just nobody like me in the Hall of Fame. There's no assistant coaches, there's no intramural directors, there's no assistant athletic director people in the Hall of Fame. So I assume some of that has to do with time, that you put in enough time. First and foremost, I'm a rec guy. I was the intramural guy, that's what I was. And how I progressed to the path beyond that is kind of unbelievable. I started in the women's building. My office was in the women's building. Across the gym was the women's building gym that is now a dance studio. There have been a number of people that have used that office as an office these days. I became a coach, an administrator. As I was looking back, trying to process the honor, I recently heard a story, and I thought it was pretty interesting perspective. Family, father and his wife and 3 children were on a bike ride through an area called Bear Valley Recreation Area. And they were riding along, and things were just going along fine. And the next thing you know, here comes a stream of bikers coming the other way. They were all nude. And the father's going, okay, how am I going to process this? Bear Valley, that's not exactly what I was thinking. What am I going to tell my children? And the 6-year-old son piped up and said, Dad, they weren't wearing helmets. So your perspective definitely changes as time goes on. The early days, there's a flood of memories that come back. As mentioned, there's some intramural people in the room. Rich, thank you very much. Joe, Mike Suter. There's just a lot of intramural people that I appreciate you being here. I'd like to tell a quick story about Joe Mayberger. I'd been here, green out of college, been here a week or 2. He came in, he was one of the student supervisors, and we were scheduling the intramural schedule for flag football. And he's in the intramural office there in the women's building. And we were going through, and he was explaining to me why certain teams couldn't play on certain dates. Well, it was the Jewish holidays that I had no idea which fraternities were in the Jewish holidays. So if it hadn't been for Joe, I would have really messed up that first schedule badly. So I appreciate that. There's a lot of people that I look back on my intramural days. Laura, my assistant, was here for a number of years, and then Sharon. I only had 2 assistant intramural directors in the time that I was here as the intramural director. You think back to the early times on campus, and some of the things that jumped out to me. Bob Hope was a commencement speaker. How cool was that? Howard Cosell was a speaker when we opened the building in '85. The Dalai Lama spoke in the building. I mean, there's just things that just don't happen other places. It just makes WashU special. I'll never forget when I went into John's office and asked him if it would be okay if I took up coaching on the side on intramurals, and he thought I was crazy. And at the time, I thought there was a baseball assistant job open, and the volleyball assistant job was open. And I had been a baseball player in college, and John knew that. And he asked me which sport I preferred to coach. And I said volleyball, I think to his surprise. And he asked me why. Terry had been there 1 season. And I said, because they're going to be good. Well, and I didn't have a lot to go on at that point. And it's very rare for me to get the mic and not have Terry have the mic after me. So I'm going to take a little liberty here. But that first team was 12-18. Okay, so she was 12-18 her first year. I joined the team 43-8. Okay. So, just what I'm saying. Okay, it's really an honor to be, as you can tell, being inducted with the '89 team is unbelievable. Obviously, I've been through, I think this is the 15th induction ceremony, as I recall. To have the opportunity to be inducted with someone you coached with and with the team that you coached is, no one's had that opportunity yet. It's unbelievable to me, and it's so much fun to see everybody. I mean, some of these people I haven't seen in years. Some of the parents I haven't seen since graduation. So 25 years later, we all look good. I have one story I'd like to tell about that team. That 43-8 year was my first year coaching, and we did not get into the NCAA tournament. We were nobody. Nobody knew who we were. But you'd think a winning streak at the end of the year, 18, was that we'd won at the end of the year, and we didn't get a bid. We were not very happy. We were having a party, waiting for the phone call. Didn't happen. Well, we were very mad at Sheila Wallace, who was the coach at ONU, who was the chair of the national committee. So she was at Ohio Northern. Well, let's just say that came back to bite her, because when we hosted the national championship in 1989, we beat in the national championship game Sheila Wallace and Ohio Northern. The other thing I remember about that championship was it started John's, history, tradition of dancing on tables. So if you'd like to ask John about dancing on tables, I am pretty sure he would not try to jump from the floor to the top of a table, but he did at that time. As the Bear coaches, moving on to it as an administrator, John said more than once, and Josh even alluded to this earlier, I can honestly say there is not a better set of coaches or staff in the country at any level. The people here are unbelievable. I had an unbelievable run here, and I just can't thank the coaches enough for the way I was treated and the abilities that you passed on to me. So I certainly appreciate that. The passion, the work ethic, the knowledge is just unmatched, and I will stand by that till the day I die. The experience molded me. John mentioned some of them, the Junior Olympics, the Senior Olympics, hosting national championships, the Olympic Festival, the debates. I mean, who gets to host debates? I mean, there's just things that are unbelievable that we got to do, that you get to do here at Washington University, and I just appreciate all of those things, those opportunities that I was given. I thank John for mentoring me. I think the growth and allowing me to grow, giving me the opportunity to make my own mistakes and to learn from that is just, I can't say more than I appreciate that, John. Starting from the top, the support has always been from the top down. Dr. Danforth, Chancellor Wrighton, Justin, always appreciated Justin's support. I appreciate everything that I've gotten to do at Washington University. Terry, thanks for the volleyball ride. That was unbelievable. I still say I was on her shirt tails, but that's okay. I'd like to thank my family, all of you that know what it's like to be a coach or an administrator in an athletic department. If you don't have good support at home, it doesn't work very well. My son Tyler's here, my daughter Jenna, my wife Pam, thanks so much for all your support over the years. The other piece here is I really appreciate the history of Washington University. As we go through the people we've seen inducted over the years, Charlie being inducted today, the history that goes back, the Olympics, all of those things that are associated with Washington University. It was my pleasure, I'm the rare honoree that had the opportunity to watch the other inductees play. Matt, all I remember, football is always the hardest sport to get to know the athletes because they always have helmets on. You can never figure out who they are, because they come into the building before practice and they don't look like they do when you see them in competition. But I remember hearing his name all the time with tackles, just all the time with tackles. Chris and Kelly are two of the most athletic basketball players we've ever had. So much fun to watch. I think back to those teams and the abilities that they shared here at Washington University. Laurel as a pitcher, as a player, was unbelievable. She even dabbled in volleyball a little bit. Played volleyball a couple years. It was probably Rich's greatest fear was that she would get hurt playing volleyball and have the softball coach out for his head. That never happened, so we're all good. But Laurel is a softball pitcher. I mean, she is unmatched. We've just never seen anything even close to that since she's been here. Bex joins a great list of setters that are in the Hall of Fame with Lori and Kelly and Steph. I was reminded by her today that she was actually my recruit because we were between coaches, and so I actually met with her and her parents the first time they came to campus. So I'm claiming Bex as my recruit. The other thing, and it was mentioned earlier with the '89 team, as Terry mentioned, is you've got to realize that team really did start it all. It really proved that it could be done. And since then, 19 national championships under our belt, starting with one in 1989. That's really impressive. I'm going to finish with one little volleyball thing. What we set up here in the huddle, one of the other things that people always wondered back in the day is we always had letters on the back of our shoes that said things, and nobody could figure out what they said because we never lined up with them in order. And some of them weren't very nice, but they worked well for us. But that led to, we get questions all the time as coaches, and I know Terry's got this question before too. Were we good because we had fun, or was it fun because we were good? Well, that's the $1 million question. There is no answer for that question. It was fun. It's what we did. We competed hard, and we were good because of that. I'd want to thank the W Club, everybody here. I can't thank you enough for this honor. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see everybody tonight. We're looking forward to the basketball games. Thank you again.